Oh, hello. Um. Okay. Go to the websites.
I'm going to start promoting now. I'm going to turn off my video so that I'm not all up in people's faces.
If I have NVDA, I will. I
Oh
don't
my
have.
god,
What?
that's actually really funny.
What?
I'm kind of wondering now that you have a better camera if YouTube would still treat you the same. I really wonder if that's it now that I think about it.
I don't have any speech. First off.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, and I don't have Twitter signed in on my Mac, so or the websites. Yeah.
I'll do it then.
Well. Oh, I got speech. Never mind. Just don't listen to me. You know that could be Michael. That's a good point. All right, I'm logging into the sites.
Okay. Updates to our terms and service. Okay. Fine.
Huh?
Twitter's like, updates to our terms and service. Great.
All right. Whoops. All right. Let's see here. At least they only have to log into one server at the moment.
I'm just going to post this on the iAccessibility Twitter, so don't worry about posting it on that site.
Oh, you're not gonna post all the site?
No, don't worry about that.
Well, what about Taylor's Tech Talks?
Well, you'll have to do that on that one if you wanted to post it there.
Yeah, or you could mention me on Twitter. Because remember, it's the same, right?
I've already done 2 tweets of the same thing.
Oh.
Um, just
Then,
retweet the ones that have one of the ones that I've done.
all right. And then I'm just going to then
We're doing this, folks, because we don't. I didn't schedule this, and we had to get the actual YouTube URL. All right.
all right. Let me quickly.
Done. All right.
Did it go to the iAccessibility website or Facebook or just Twitter?
Just to Twitter.
And then what about Discord?
I will post it now on Discord.
All right. And while you're doing that, I'm gonna watch the chats.
Yeah, I'd be curious to know how many people are here with us so far, yeah, or if they all left us.
Well, I see. I see, I think 2 people are watching. I don't know if one of them is myself, though. Also mention everyone on the iAccessibility server as well, Michael.
I will.
Okay. But, folks, if you're here, why not say hi in chat? This is going to be very interactive. I better make sure my chat's enabled. Maybe on a new setup, but I'm not going to give any hints.
Oops.
Oops.
That was not the general text channel.
What'd you do it in?
I accidentally pressed on the general voice channel. All right.
I should make sure my chat was setting up here. Okay. All right, I think we're good.
Okay. Go ahead and push your, if you can, go ahead and push your screen back a little further.
Okay, is it? Oh, it's a little too far.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay, I think we're good.
All right, I'm going to turn on my video. I'm going to go ahead and make this full screen just because video is on. I'm going to push my screen back. And it's awesome because I totally have a light flare on the top of my head. That's awesome. The problems with being bald. I was trying to turn the light on in my bedroom so that there'd be light in here, or like, you know, so that it would look a little more natural, but that's not helping. Although it is kind of putting down this like effect over my head, like, well, like I have my background, folks, is like Earth, and so it's like putting this shining like sun ray like on my head, so it's like kind of looks really neat. So, all right, are you ready to get started?
I am. Are we recording? Are we?
That's a good idea.
I'm like, I didn't see we're recording.
Yeah, we did last time.
Nope. We let you. There we go.
All right, are you ready to get started? Finally?
I am.
All right, let's do this thing.
All right.
Yeah, it happens.
All right.
All right. And 3, 2, 1. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Techopolis Live. My name is Michael Dowies, and as usual,
we have Taylor Arndt.
Yep, we're both back. And if you're watching here on YouTube, you know, I don't know if you notice anything different. My video looks like crap, and Taylor actually looks great. So why is that, Taylor? What did you do different?
We've got a new setup. So I have gone back on my Mac, and what we have is I have a Mac from 2017 that's had a lot of issues. So finally revived that thing, and I have also as well a Windows thing in the cloud for my Windows needs, because I have to be on both operating systems. And
that's a technical term, right? Thing in the cloud?
I know, right? It's technical. But to make it simple, you know, I need to be on both operating systems. In fact, I'm on both operating systems right now. The YouTube chat is being controlled by Windows while I'm streaming on the Mac. Literally, controlling my Windows through a remote desktop. And so I'm using my Mac camera to stream, and I don't think I actually look all that bad.
No, compared to your Lenovo, it's a vast difference. Like I was like, whoa, it's not blurry, and the lighting doesn't look the same no matter where you look on your camera image. So, yeah, I would say it's a lot different.
Well, that's great.
So, um, we're streaming today as we usually do. We have a new day, and so we moved to Wednesday, and I think we're going to keep it on Wednesdays. What do you think, Taylor?
I agree. And let me know, chat, if you guys also agree. If anybody wants to chat me, I need to make sure that my speech is. Hey, Astrodev. It matches the background. It hits from the sun. LOL. I'm not getting any speech at the moment, so hopefully that changes because that could be very annoying. But regardless, I think we're gonna do Wednesdays. It just seems to work better for all of our schedules. And if you agree, let us know in chat.
Yeah. So, today's topic. We have actually a lot to talk about today. So
we have a ton to talk about today.
We've been doing a lot of automating for our company services and things like that. And we wanted to kind of share some of the stuff we've been doing. So we got another trial of, and we'll get to the reason for the title in just a bit. We've been playing with some things, and one of the neatest things is there's a thing called Splash Top. And it's allowed us to connect to the Mac and be able to connect, as one or more users. But we've been playing with a new one today, and it was working great for a little bit, and then it stopped working, called Jump Desktop.
Right, but do we want to explain about this Mac that we keep talking about? Because I'm sure I don't know how many people know.
Yeah, I don't know if we've talked about it before, but
I don't think we have either, but we should.
We basically have a Mac called from a company called Mac Stadium. And what this lets us do is develop in the cloud. So we can actually develop our applications on this and run them from the Mac. And it's an M1 Mac Mini. And it's maxed out. It has 1 terabyte of space and 16 gigs of RAM. So we pay $150 a month for it, but it's worth the investment because we could connect to it through SSH or a remote desktop client and be able to actually run Mac apps on it, or, if we have a good protocol and websites. We actually have several websites running on it, and we're going to be putting more there. So we just have a lot of services running on that machine. And now we're finding better and better ways to connect to it. And we found a program called Jump Desktop that lets us connect and get audio. So, Taylor, you can get screen readers and stuff like that. So you want to explain a little bit of why that's a challenge regularly without these programs that we are trying to get.
Yeah, so normally if you try to connect to the Mac, a Mac, I guess, like in remote, right, it's normally through something called VNC. Unfortunately, VNC does not support audio protocol, right? The audio. So in other words, screen readers and sound, well, that's gone. So that's why we've had to look at other programs like Splashtop and Jump Desktop.
Yep, and I think they both work really well. Jump Desktop comes with our version of Set. It's called Setapp, SETAPP. And I'm curious if the Windows version costs, or how much it costs.
Yeah, I haven't looked at it.
So I'm going to be very curious as to the cost of that and how much it's going to, because we get it on Mac for built in with our Setapp subscription, and it just really makes it nice. So if we can, just pay for Setapp and get Jump Desktop, then that's really worth it. So
yeah. Plus all the other applications that are able to be got
right
from that subscription.
Like Clean My Mac, which is an amazing program. It will clean up your RAM. It will actually clear up your hard drive and all kinds of things like that.
Yeah, and it's
Go
all
ahead.
for a very affordable price as well.
Yep.
Right. So it's definitely a cool thing, and I'm checking it out. Like I said, there's so many applications in there, and it's definitely something you need to check out.
I think Jason Earls even said it's more accessible than the App Store app.
That is hilarious.
Yeah.
That is
So
awesome.
yeah, it's a great designed app. I mean, you used it earlier to get Jump Desktop. How was your experience going through it?
It was great, and actually, once we're off the stream today, I'm gonna go through the whole thing with Michael, and I'm gonna download everything right because I'm still setting up my setup. I mean, I'm like I said, I've got everything pretty much configured, but trying to get this optimized because it'll be awesome to have one little like workstation, right? Because I was able to do iMovie while at the same time, you know, dealing with Windows stuff and responding to text messages all on the same machine. I mean, isn't that
So
incredible?
yeah, so um, Taylor, why don't you talk about what you're going to be using now instead of a dedicated Windows box?
Yeah, so my new setup consists of again, it's gonna be a little bit technical to try to explain. So I'm gonna, explain this in the simplest terms possible. So the 2017 MacBook Pro, that's the most, you know, the most easiest thing to explain, the most straightforward. Then, in terms of accessing Windows, right? I could try Boot Camp, but again, that's too slow. And then I don't get all my Mac benefits. I'd have to switch operating systems, kind of defeating the purpose. I could try to do virtual machine, but we all know what happens then. My Mac is just not powerful enough for that because it overheated a couple times. So, we're not going to do that. But what we are going to do is we're going to run Windows in the cloud using something called Vultr. And it's a virtual private server or VPS, and basically it allows us to run, we have Windows Server on it at the moment, and it allows us to run it in the cloud with NVDA. We've got NVIDIA. I even managed to run JAWS also as well, Michael.
Awesome, and that's spelled VULTR.
Oh, sorry. I misspoke. Um,
No, you said the name right, but I just wanted to make sure people knew the spelling of it.
yes. Okay, so yeah, it's pretty awesome. I think I do have a referral code in there. So if I do, I'm going to throw that in there. And feel free if you want to check it out. Feel free to use it because it's very cheap. So even if you want to throw one up for a day or so, I think if I'm correct, I need to make sure, but I think you may get like $100 of Vulture credit. But again, don't quote me on that. I need to go check. Actually, I might go do that right now. Because yeah, it is a significant amount. So let me go ahead and do that for a second.
Yeah, so it's really a nice service because we've been able to build in minutes, not hours, a Windows Server 2019 instance running. It's version 1809, and I wish there would be, a newer version we could put on there.
Yeah, but I
A
think
Windows
once
Server.
2022 comes out, we do have a chat message. Jeff asks, can this be used to run Unix and Linux servers? Yes.
Oh yes.
Oh, yes. Yep.
And you can do that, but I highly recommend Linode. They're similarly priced, but just I've had more experience with them. Highly recommend Linode. I think it's really a good service compared. I mean, Vulture's good too, but I've gotten great use and support from Linode. Anytime I've had a question, they're on it. But Vulture does allow for custom OS installs, whereas Linode is very Linux focused.
The other thing, though, is that it is actually a little bit cheaper than Linode if you go the basic plan, right? You can do one for $350 a month, whereas Linode is $5.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So yeah, and also we've been having the server up for how long now, Michael? Was it like less than 24 hours or
Less than
24?
24 hours. Yep.
And currently it says my bill is going to be $1.38.
Interesting.
But
That's neat. It's neat that it tells you that. So
yeah, let me find my referral, and I will throw that in the chat if I can find it. I know that it's in here because okay, but let's see here. But anyways, while I'm doing that, but it's a really awesome thing.
Yeah, it's a really cool platform. Now, if you do use Windows Server, you have the price of the machine and the Windows Server licensing that you're paying for. So
You
that
do.
also does add to the pricing as well.
Yes, it definitely makes it a little bit more expensive. I mean, because I think it's based on your server size. Right,
So, you know,
so
I wonder if there's that in the number of users. I wonder if you go over a certain number of users, if it.
that could be as well. Okay, so I will have to do this later because it's a whole program. I just thought it was like a refer a friend, but it's not. Okay, anyways, I will do that later. He's just saying asking questions for future viewers who may be curious about it.
Well, we appreciate it. That's really cool.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And I don't know why I'm not getting chat speech, but anyways, we're making it work. Okay, so yeah, no, that sounds great. I will, like I said, if I know more about Vulture, but even you could just check it out yourself as well. But it's really cool, cool service, and I really like it. But yeah, it's interesting that they display the bill right there. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it is. That's really neat.
That way you kind of know how it's broken down, right?
And that, you know, I'm sure also some of that has to go into some of the other VMs that we've powered on and right back off again because they didn't work. Right?
Well, yeah, but it shows it shows the charges for each VM separately.
Oh, that's cool too.
Yep. So yeah, anybody in the chat? Let's see, do we have anybody here? Anybody in the chat? Let me know if you ever use Vulture or what provider you prefer.
And leave comments,
and
you know, we want to hear what you have to say. It's really neat. Like at one point today, I had that going. I had desktop to the Mac server, and you know, different things like that. So the abilities that you have are, you know, running cloud is very cool.
Just make sure you have a good internet connection.
Right. Although there are low latency modes you can enable, but if you're trying to do audio like Taylor, then you want to make sure you have good internet.
Yeah, and preferably, if you can, you know, if it's optimal, you know, even like wiring in if you want, you know, if you really need that performance. Although it's easier said than done.
Right. Especially because most machines don't have a Ethernet port, and most times people don't have dongles for them. I kind of like how Apple has done on the iMacs, where the AC adapter is what has the Ethernet port, and I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that is.
So, if you update your Mac, Taylor, would you be interested? Would you get an iMac, or would you stick with a laptop?
Laptop, because I need a portable device.
Right.
Frankly, I don't want something that'll take up my whole entire office. I mean, because again, until I like move into a house, whatever, right? Frankly, I just want a laptop. I need something portable that I can take with me place to place.
Right. And you know, it's interesting because I actually think that 24-inch machine, you know, it's actually the smaller of the two, and I'm sure they're going to come out with a 30-inch, but I think that those both are, that 24-inch is still a very nice machine for what it can do.
Do you have an iMac?
I've had some in the past, but I don't have one now. I would love to get one, though. They're very cool. Just because you can use a full-size, they have a wireless keyboard that's full-size with a number pad, and you know, very cool for development and screen readers. And they have the trackpad, like that's bigger or about the same size as the laptop one. And so you don't even need a good mouse. And if I wanted to play Minecraft, well, I have some gaming mice laying around. So, you know, and they're a lot cheaper than what you would get for the like the $2,600 Mac laptops that are high performance. So, you know, it's not a bad deal.
And I'm getting thrown with text. Okay. That's the only bad thing about this setup, right? You kind of get all your texts when you're not used to it.
Oh, yeah. You will get bombarded with notifications when they come to your phone. They'll come to your computer, too. So, I guess we should talk about our reason for naming the episode Why We Did.
I think that'd be a good idea. Because I'm
So,
sure people are wondering what's happening here.
so we tried a program called Zapier, and Taylor, what is Zapier?
Zapier is a program. In simple terms, it helps you work with programs that normally are not meant to work together. Right? So it's almost like if or IFTTT, if then the if that then
If then
uh
it. Oh my God, you got me confused now too. See?
if this then that.
Yeah, there you go.
There we
That's
go.
it.
Um but basically it allows you to connect anything and everything together. So for example, let's say you wanted I don't know. Whenever I get a whenever I like a video on YouTube, I just set this one up in IFT, it will send out a tweet, right? I'm sure everybody's probably annoyed by me by now because I've been sending out tweets of all the YouTube videos I like, and so is Michael. But you can automate, things that have normally not been able to work together using these Zapier or IFT. Zapier is more for the business users. We do have a comment on the laptop thing, so I'll get to that in a second. But yeah, I really think that Zapier is really good for business. But again, it can be a little bit overpriced and a little bit inaccessible. So we do have a comment about the laptop thing. So Asadef says, I think a laptop is better in today's remote economy anyway. A Chromebook would work great for pure office work, no editing. So Zapier is a form of middleware?
Yeah, I guess it kind of would be.
Yeah, I guess it would be. Yeah.
One thing I want to say real quick though, going back to the laptops, the one good thing actually about the iMac, I've actually seen bags, like bags where people can put their iMac in a car with them, and it doesn't take up a lot of space, and it has wheels. It's like a rolling backpack for the iMac, and that was for the 27-inch, and this is 24, so it's pretty small. But also the nice thing is it has the new camera that will follow you and zoom in and out as you move through the frame, so it's going to make people look great for remote work. That's why I want to play with one.
Well,
But
maybe
yeah,
you'll have to go to the Apple store and go play with one.
I think I will. I have not been to the Apple store since May, so I kind of want to go back. That'd be fun.
Yeah, it would be. And I don't really have one near me, so this is what happens when you live where I do.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I have 2 Apple stores, and so it's like every time somebody tells me, "Oh, we don't have an Apple store," I'm like, "We do what?"
I know.
So, yeah, I'm really, Zapier is a neat thing, and I heard about it from the Automators podcast, and they talk about a lot of different services, but it is expensive.
Very expensive.
They have a lot of different things that you could use it with. I don't remember what they call it. The Zaps.
The things that they use it with.
Right.
They're called apps, and then zaps are what you make to connect them together.
Right. Exactly.
So we've got apps and zaps, I guess.
So you have that, and then the pricing, if you don't want the free plan, is, it can quickly get to $30 really quickly.
Really quickly. And you only get what are called 750 tasks per month. So every time a zap goes off, so a zap again is, a connection between your apps, right? So every time you get a zap, that goes off, that counts against one of your tasks for the month.
Correct.
So, yeah, it's a little bit expensive. And the other thing that gets me is they're not committed to accessibility. They've clearly stated several times that they don't care. And I'm not going to stand for that, and neither is Michael. So we want to try to find something better.
And I think we have. Taylor mentioned a new service, and we went and looked it up. And why don't you talk about it, since it was your find?
Well, I will, but we have one more. Astro Jeff says, I do not have an Apple store in my area. I have to go on the the mainland for one.
Yeah, it's a little further away from Galveston.
Yeah. But yeah, let's talk about it. So, of course, we were getting, a little bit fed up. So, I was trying to find something else, and I came across this thing called Integromat. And it's kind of like Zapier as well. It has a lot of different services. It's kind of a competitor, right? But it's a lot more affordable, and it used to be inaccessible, but they pretty much made it, I would say, about 80% accessible. So you can kind of connect, different services like, you can with Zapier. And in their case, you get what are called scenarios. So instead of zaps, you get scenarios. So scenarios are like, for example, whenever my Dropbox folder changes, update it in Google Drive, right? Or whenever I get a new email with a subject line, send it to a Discord channel. Or whenever I send out a tweet with, these whatever, put it on Discord. Or there's so many variations to that, right? So I really love it. And Michael and I have been setting it up. One thing to note, though, and this is what's important as well. This is why also having multiple operating systems is nice, because on VoiceOver on the Mac, you can actually do more for accessibility than you can on Windows with any of the screen readers. And so having that multiple operating system compatibility and that ease of use for VoiceOver users and screen reader users is a plus in general. So that's something else I like about my new setup.
Yeah, and we tried it, and I said, okay, let me try this on the Mac. And so the issue is, if you're using this program and this software, this app, and you go and you create a scenario, and say you're creating a email action. When you go to, it says select folder to watch. So if you see that in Windows, you can't select it, but on the Mac you can. So it has its problems. It's also very graphical. So, but everything seems to be usable.
Yes, there are some unlabeled buttons, but I'm wondering, with the new Macs, Michael, this is something I haven't thought of. Do you think that the chip can get those image values of the buttons and read them aloud?
I think your Mac will be able to do some of that. It may not be as detailed as well, but I think that it will. But either one, obviously the M1s will do better, but I think yours will be able to do some of that as well.
So that could be another solution to that kind of problem, right? So that's why, again, I kind of think both operating systems having that ability to be versatile, especially if you are doing assistive technology testing, is a vital and important part, and especially also if you're a developer as well, like we are. So, yep. Integromat is awesome, and that's kind of why our title, right? Zapier just got zapped by Integromat.
Right, and the thing about it is, Integromat may not have all the things that Zapier has. Like, right. There is no YouTube action. You can make a custom action for or custom app for YouTube, but it's not built in. And I would really like them to add that. That would be great. But it also has some things that Zapier and others do not have. For instance, Firebase cloud messaging.
Oh, yes.
So I can wire up my WordPress website to, whenever there's a new post, send a push notification to my iOS apps that I've developed. That's huge. I've been looking for that for years.
Yeah, I know, and it would have been helpful last week, right? I mean, especially.
Right. Because we can make it where even like, with this program set app, using Mars Edit, you can just send push notifications just from, writing a quick blog post and pressing send.
I think,
that's huge.
Yeah, I'm hoping that next Techopolis Live, we can send out some notifications.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
We should be able to do that. Yeah, those will go to the iAccessibility app, but still, that would be, great.
Well, a lot of people have that app, I think. So that's another way, right? And it's cool that you can automate all that stuff, right? Because, that would take so long to try to do yourself every single time. But if we can automate it, we can make our lives easier. That's what ultimately we're trying to do.
Yeah, and I think if we could probably even take out some of the Jetpack notification stuff that they do with Twitter and all that, make our websites a little more lean and just have it go through, we'd still keep Jetpack, but have it go through, do all that heavy lifting on the Integromat side. That way, we're not putting forth a lot of the processing power of our server to make that happen.
Right, but obviously, yeah, you wouldn't want to just like give that to clients. But yeah, either way though, like.
Right. No, just for your, what your personal websites and any, our clients can sign up for Integromat and we can help them hook it up. But
Yeah. So if you're interested in that, do we have a referral link, Michael?
I don't know. We'll have to look that up. If we do, I'll get it to Taylor and we can put it different places.
Yeah, we'll put a pinned comment like they suggested above.
Mm-hmm.
So be on the lookout for some referral links, and then yeah. So because again, we found all these services, and like we've done a lot of digging.
Right, and because the goal is if you can automate things without having to go press 5-10 different buttons and going here and there and then posting all this stuff, then that, any way you can automate is good. So, that's our goal. And we were looking at Zapier and they do some great stuff. Like their Discord integration's great. We built a help desk ticket first on Zapier and it integrates with Discord and To Do, and that's great. But now we have the same thing with
Integromat,
and it also works with Microsoft To Do.
And that's the other thing too is that because Microsoft To Do is what we use for task management, right? So that integrates with a special help desk list, and then anytime a To Do is added, it gets sent to Discord as well.
Now, what'd be cool is if we could send, like when we check something off on that help desk ticket thing, if we could send back to Discord that says task complete.
I think, I think that is possible. Because there is an action that says task completed.
Interesting. I think we need to investigate.
I think so too. Let's see here. We do not seem to have any more chat at the moment. But I think we need to investigate that because, that would help a lot of people out, right? That way they'd be like, oh, this has been done.
So, speaking of hopefully things not being zapped.
Well, I hope not, but you never know.
WordPress 5.8.
Oh boy, yes.
So we got the notification that many websites that we work on got updated yesterday, and some were more critical than others. But apparently nothing broke. So what is WordPress 5.8, Taylor, and what's different? What do you think is the biggest takeaway from that?
So WordPress 5.8 is a huge update. It basically allows the block editor, right? The Gutenberg editor. I've been talking about this a lot on my Taylor's Tech Talks. But what it does is it allows you to edit your sites fully in the block editor. So like full site editing, it's called. And this has been in the works for like, I don't even know, like a year or maybe more. Or at least just several months. But it basically allows you to edit every part of your site using the block-based theme. Also, for your theme developers out there, you can make themes apparently out of JSON. Like you can use JSON files to create, like parts of themes. I don't exactly know how that works, so don't quote me if because I'm probably wrong. But that's another great thing too, as well, is that you can actually create themes with WordPress or with JSON.
That sounds like it uses a lot of. I remember you telling me that WordPress uses React, right?
Yes, it does. I believe it. Yeah, it really does.
So that's probably how they're handling that. I mean, I would, if you can do that, I would even probably take a stab at making a theme out of JSON just because it'd be fun,
Yeah, I also got a comment. SJF says, "Hey, like the stream. I'm gonna share this with a couple of low blindness and low vision groups I'm part of to boost the outreach."
Well, we really appreciate it. So
we do.
The more that people can share, the better. We really appreciate that. And like we said, we do this every Wednesday for anybody that's tuning in now. We have a lot of fun doing these streams, and and I know that these streams are very, technical, but that's the goal of these, right? We have another podcast that we do, on a different network, the IAcast. And that's kind of where we do a little more down to earth. But these are kind of, this show is here to, one, promote Techopolis, the company that I'm creating and with Taylor, and for two, it's to allow for Taylor and myself to have an outlet to you guys to talk about the really, really advanced topics that that most people out there would think are so
crazy,
boring, and crazy as well.
Yeah, so boring and crazy that we just need that place. And so if you're thinking, oh my goodness, I don't understand it, that's okay. Like I said, but, like I said, this is kind of a place where you can kind of learn, right? And be able to take something away from it. Because that's kind of what we hope to have you do.
Right. And you can, Google search, go look up stuff that we talk about. And it's just very interesting because, this is our third episode. Right? I mean, I think this is our third episode. And I think that we've done some really cool stuff on here. So, it's really, actually, the reason why I paused, I'm like, I remember we already had 2 videos on the channel. I'm like, is this our third or is this our fourth? And then I was like, oh wait, one of those was a coding demonstration of React. So, and we're going to do, we may have other topics other than just, automating and developing. We may talk about photography. And so actually, you know what, that brings up a question that I want to ask. So very few people that are totally blind or that have low vision are interested in this, but there are some. What is your opinion, Taylor, of photography? Is it something that fascinates you, or is it just
I mean, it's okay, but it's kind of hard for, I don't know, it's not really something that gets me really interested, right? I'd rather be developing apps, for photographers to use.
Right. And the interesting thing is, I always tell people these days, it's now, with the iPhone and what we have with VoiceOver,
it's more possible than ever.
Oh yeah. And it's interesting, to see what you can actually get in an image because of VoiceOver's image description and the things that it does with recognition. And the neat thing is you could also use live photo to kind of get a little glimpse of where it was taken.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll have all kinds of topics on here, and we try to cater to, we're both I'm low vision. Taylor has less vision than I do, but we try to talk about topics that interest everybody, whether you're low vision or blind or totally sighted. It does not matter, because in the end, we're all trying to do the same thing. The purpose of this is to study and celebrate the use of technology, and so that's why we do what we do.
Yep. Okay, let's see what we have here.
Do we have any chat messages?
Let's see. Oh, I can't wait for spreadsheets on the internet.
Who's that from?
Messenger. Well, no, there's a lot more. So I can't wait for spreadsheets on the internet. Those who are tech individuals working in companies that can use more accessible services on the back end of the services that they provide.
And can you tell us what you're referring to, I guess?
And I'm getting a call. Wonderful. Okay. So, gotta love Do Not Disturb.
Hey, at least your Mac didn't ring.
Oh, I know. Yet.
Because it can do that. You will get phone calls on your Mac if it's set up.
Oh, geez. Okay. I think he's referring to I don't know. It was kind of hard to try to. There's 3 different chat messages strung together. So. Yeah. Now I lost my train of thought.
But And it's very interesting. And as far as like WordPress, that I think that platform is trying to expand beyond what it is, and I think they, as long as they're careful, they're going to do a great job. But as long as they don't become a Wix or a Squarespace, and if you're a lover or a creator of those platforms, my apologies, but they are just. I use
Inaccessible.
Squarespace. Yeah, I used Squarespace for several years before. In whenever I took a WordPress hiatus. Whenever I started the website iAccessibility, it was the iAccessibility Report blog at WordPress.com. And then I spun it off to be a WordPress website, and I don't remember what hosting. It might have been DreamHost. They're pretty good, by the way. I highly recommend them.
Yep, I do as well.
We have very big opinions on other providers, but DreamHost is pretty good. But I went over to Squarespace for a little bit, and at the time, their themes were accessible on the front end. But the problem that they have is I could not have a totally blind person edit the back end of my websites.
And that is a big problem.
And also, they cost a lot. That's also the other thing, is they cost a good bit. So, like $36 a bit, and for one website, I might add.
Oh.
So yeah.
And we got a message. So, talking about the tech you guys are covering on the stream in general.
Okay. Makes sense. And, so I moved I moved back to WordPress, and, WordPress is fantastic at importing media and on stuff from other places, because if you look back at iAccessibility.net, there is posts that go back from the iAccessibility Report blog in 2010. So,
and the website hit 100,000 views this week, didn't it?
It did, and that was pretty awesome. I'd love for it.
You did it, didn't you?
Yep, and I would love for it to hit 200,000 in less time. But that's for all of my websites. I like to see. I love numbers. I love to see higher numbers, and that those bar charts go up and up and up.
Yep.
And it's really interesting. So, I've used a lot of those different things, and it's interesting when you talk to the sighted community, because everybody has their favorite inaccessible platform. I talked to one guy. He said, SEO is, if you want to go to SEO, go with Wix, and I'm like, why?
Why? Yeah.
But apparently they pay a lot of money for their websites to get good SEO. Because, a lot of times it is not just about how accessible or how SEO friendly you make your website. If you pay the money, it's going to show up higher, unfortunately.
Okay. Got another chat message. Let's see. Something about GeoCities.
Oh man, that takes me back a long time.
I gotta figure out. I'm gonna say this on stream. Okay. Homestead for the win on GeoCities with a smiling face emoji.
Yeah, those are some old. At least GeoCities was a very old provider where you can make websites, kind of like Wix or Squarespace, way back in the 90s and maybe early 2000s. There was another one that I used called, I think I used it, called Angel Fire. That was a very popular one.
So there's just a lot of them. I obviously always started on WordPress, right? Because, I wasn't around back in some of those days. Yeah. For those website providers, but I just
back then, you really couldn't get a server like, you can now. And even back 10, 12 years ago, virtual servers were expensive. And, even today, they're pretty expensive. Like, if you look at Azure, that's ridiculous.
Woo.
Yeah.
We were looking at that last night, and how much would it cost us per month?
I think the cheapest thing I saw was $84.
For just the
host.
The host. Not even the storage, right?
Not even the storage, or the user accounts, or the this isn't the that. So it was like, oh man.
Oh god.
No.
So that would easily be like $200 to $300 a month.
Possibly. It just depends on the number. But, one thing that's interesting is AWS because they are a little bit more affordable. I think in the range of pricing, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I think in range of pricing, it's really like Azure is the most expensive, then Google Cloud, then AWS.
Yeah, but let us know.
And I've heard from our friend Doug that there's one called Low End Box, and that's the cheapest one out there.
Mm-hmm. And then you got like DigitalOcean and some of those other ones.
DigitalOcean and Linode, those are two very good ones. And then, one thing that I think is really neat, and some things that I've been wanting to look into is learning how to build Node apps using AWS Lambda and things like that. Are you familiar with that, Taylor?
I am not.
So basically, there are things like AWS Lambda lets you actually run code without even needing a server.
What?
So you could install your Node application or your Python lab application using Lambda, and then it would actually run it, and you have endpoints and different things like that. And you don't even need to power up a full virtual machine, and you only use, your charge for the data that goes in and out and the processing, and that's it.
Wow.
It's pretty interesting. And then, we all know about S3, but we use Wasabi because it's cheaper.
But it's still technically S3.
Correct.
Yep.
And I don't remember what S3 stands for, but it is an acronym. Just like EC2 is an acronym for Elastic Cloud Compute.
Yeah, I don't know what S3 stands for. If anybody knows, yeah.
Yeah. And, it's interesting, going back to, everybody thinks that talking about these kind of, I know it sounds random, but all of these things are AWS properties. But, going back to what we were talking about with Integromat, you can actually use S3 with that. Or Wasabi. I believe Wasabi was in the list.
Well, yeah, because it's technically S3 property, and yeah, so you could have, theoretically, we could make an Integromat that will move the content of a Google Drive folder to Wasabi.
Right, or vice versa. We could tell it restore, and we could have it restore content from Google Drive, or we could even have, check this out, restore and put files that are on actually, you know what? That's not a bad idea. We could have an Integromat that would move files from a server, like podcast episodes that are old that need to be archived off of the server and into Wasabi. That's kind of cool.
Right, that's what I was kind of saying.
All from a button that you could use with their iOS app.
Right. And then it does automations on your iPhone too as well, right?
Correct. Yep. You can add buttons or use Siri or use shortcuts.
There's so many awesome options, and that's kind of why, like I said, Zapier got zapped. Right?
Exactly.
So for others, explain how S3 and how Wasabi relates to that kind of tech. Okay. Do you understand, Michael?
So, yeah. So S3 and Wasabi are called called object storage, not block storage. That's something else. Object storage is basically where you're charged, at least on Amazon, for the objects that you put into what are called buckets. And yes, they are called, when you're looking at Wasabi, I think I saw it written this way, it is called your bucket list. I am not kidding.
It is. No, it is. You're right.
I wonder who had fun making that pun.
I don't know.
They were being very punny. But you have buckets, which are basically places to put stuff. And you can have different rules, and yes, that's a lot of fun not to set up on each bucket. And you can have folders and files under those. And a lot of people get confused because it's like, okay, it's just a place to put stuff. How can you read it as a file system? Well, there are different programs that you can get out there like S3FS or rclone or CyberDuck That's what I use.
Mountain Duck?
Yeah, Mountain Duck.
I
Yep.
was like, wait, CyberDuck is inaccessible as far as I knew.
In it, and there's both programs, Mountain Duck and CyberDuck, and then there's Transmit for Mac, and there's a few others for other platforms, but these programs let you mount these on your computer.
As like drives in your network.
Yep.
So.
And the reason why it's different, like Wasabi, the reason why you'd use that is it's a flat rate compared to S3 that will charge you for putting your stuff there, the storage costs, and then what's called egress charges. So egress charges, basically, they charge you for the number of downloads and how much bandwidth is used. So Azure, AWS, and Google Cloud all have these things called pricing calculators. And I always say, if you need a pricing calculator, then you're doing it wrong, because you're not have the fee for entry, and I'm not even talking money. The fee for entry is a group of people that are pricing this out and doing budgeting who already kind of know what they want and are not afraid to pay what they need.
Because it can get expensive quick.
And the reason why Wasabi is great is you don't have, you have $6 per terabyte, and plus some hidden fees they don't really mention up front, which
they probably should.
Right. You have to go looking through their documentation to find it, and then once you cancel, you still get charged 3 months. That's a little bit sneaky, but it's still cheaper than AWS, but there's always a gotcha, right?
S3 storage containers are different than Docker in what way?
So S3 storage is for actually storing data. Docker is where you can containerize your developer projects into different developer environments. So it's like apples and oranges there. Am I right, Taylor? Is that what you understand?
Yeah, honestly, I've never really used Docker, so.
I've been wanting to try it for developing different projects, because you can basically use it almost like VMs, but like lightweight VMs.
Yeah, that could be actually a little bit helpful for some projects. There might be something else on we have a never-ending list of things we want to try.
But that's why we're really into technology, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my chats are still not reading properly. So, anyways, I was just making sure. So, yeah, that's like I said. So, I hope that kind of gives you a clear explanation of the differences there.
Yeah. So, out of we've already talked about a lot of stuff, but Taylor, what do you find to be the most interesting thing that we've talked about today so far?
I don't know. I mean, all of it. Well, obviously, all of it's great, right? But I mean, I think the most interesting thing is just how can we be more efficient, right? Because we have technology, but how can we make it work for us? And how can we, automate some of our repetitive tasks?
So, and I think really and truthfully, the Automators podcast is a good place to start to kind of learn this stuff. That's where I learned about SetApp, and I learned about some of these other things. And one resource that I actually want to check out again, I need to renew my subscription. But they do some, and not all of it's accessible, so I'm just putting that out there. They do some really cool videos, and that's called Screencasts Online, and really awesome person, Allison Sheridan, and a few others that I've heard of, do tutorials on this channel, on this service. And, you just get some very top-notch Apple enthusiasts and other folks that are doing tutorials. So I kind of want to check that out again and see what all they've changed since I dropped off my subscription. But yeah, it's real. Have you heard of that, Taylor?
I haven't, but we got one more comment. Is that why you guys are using a bucket list system?
On S3 because or Wasabi because you put everything into buckets. And so like what we do is we put a bucket name with the name of where we're going to store it on our website. That way we can redirect, we have cdn.iaccessibility.net, and that bucket redirects to the iAccessibility or iAccessibility redirects to that bucket, so we could put files there, and we don't have to remember what
S3 blah blah
S,
blah dot
bucket
blah
name dot
blah blah
s3 dot wasabi sys.com
slash location slash blah.
Yeah,
That's not fun to me.
No. So if we can make our bucket names that will allow for redirects through htaccess or Nginx server rules, which
We've been doing some of that too.
Yeah, Taylor's been learning how to make server rules on Nginx, and I think it's cooler than Apache. Just my thought.
Oh yeah, I 100% agree. We've been doing so much stuff that I sometimes forget everything that we do. Right.
Yeah, and I mean, we've been using the Mac, we've been using Windows, and we've been playing around with Windows 11, and I'm really excited about Windows 365. I may have to pay for a month of it just to see what it's like and see.
I know. I may have to too. And if anybody wants a comparison between Vultr server versus Windows 365, that might have to be a thing. So if anybody's interested, let me know. From an accessibility perspective, of course.
And I also want to throw a shout out to our Programming for Everyone server. You guys are awesome, and y'all have helped me answer a few questions that I've put in the chat. So I'm really thankful that we have that server. So it's really, really cool stuff.
Yeah, and we'll put the link in the chat once I can actually figure out why I can't chat. But we will put the link in there. I don't think it's to do with the video, Michael. I think it's a YouTube account I logged into. But we'll put all the links in there for you to join that server. And we've got about 50 people on there, I think, almost.
Yeah, so if you're listening to this and you want to join, Taylor will put a link in the chat. Chat or in the comments or whatever we need to do. And, Taylor does a lot of the posting of all these social things. And so, it takes me a while, and you're really fast at it. So I just want to say thanks, Taylor, for doing that. I think it really helps out. You're very good at promotion, so it's really cool stuff.
Thank you. I try. Yeah, and we're gonna have some cool things. Hopefully, we'll have notifications. So download the iAccessibility app if you want to get notified when we go live. And I'm hoping we can have a Techopolis app soon.
Yeah, who knows? We may eventually build. We both might build a Techopolis app, and you will be able to actually look at. I think we're going to do this one in React Native. I think it'll be fun.
Oh, really? Okay.
And you'll be able to pull content about each of us. So you'll be able to look up, as we call ourselves, the Techopolis developers. And I am not going to, every channel that mentions the word developer brings up the infamous Steve Ballmer.
Don't do it.
Developers thing. We're not going to do that here. I hate that thing. It's terrible. Although it was used in a song, and I think that was kind of neat at one point, and they did it, and it was kind of neat. But I was watching a video from Fireship, and he kept playing it. I'm like, no, stop.
But yeah, we also love that channel as well. So also follow us on Twitter if you want to know what we like on YouTube.
Yeah, follow. Is it Taylor _Art22?
Art22 and Mike Doey's.
Yep. And usually whenever I stop working for the day, I'll start watching YouTube, which is like 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock at night. So all of a sudden, Michael Doey's liked a video on YouTube. Michael Doey's liked a video on YouTube.
And then I like a video on YouTube. Yeah, so if you want to see what we like on YouTube and you want to watch some of the stuff, then the best way to do it is to follow us on Twitter.
And turn on notifications if that's not annoying enough.
I know, right?
And, if you have Do Not Disturb, turn it on because, especially if you don't like Minecraft videos, because sometimes I will be tweeting those out too.
Yeah.
So, okay. Wow. What do you think, Taylor? Do we have more we want to go over? Do we have
I think this is a lot of stuff this week, personally. It's been awesome.
I think we talked about a lot of cool stuff. So, we'll be back at at the same time next week. We may talk more next week about our setup and how we've done with getting, this stuff set up in the cloud. And, I think we had a plan for this week that we talked about on last episode, but we totally trashed that because we came up with new stuff. So, I say that, and this is why I don't make plans, because by the
Right.
time that things happen, something cooler has come up. So,
Right.
yeah. And if you want to watch a neat video, go back to earlier this week, actually during the weekend, look at this channel's history, and you'll actually find our Code Academy chapter video where we talk about the different, using different IDEs and, what the purpose is and all that kind of stuff. So I thought that was really a good video, and I'm very excited about it. So.
Yep. And feel free to check out all the resources. We'll throw those on the chat. Like I said, once everything gets settled with my new setup. And follow us, and we'll definitely have more.
Yep. All right, everybody. That's going to do it, I think, for this time. Taylor,
all right.
Where are you online?
I am everywhere. So Taylor_Art22 Twitter, TaylorAccess.com if you want to find my company website, TaylorsTechTalks.com, where my podcast and YouTube channel. By the way, we just hit 200 subscribers on YouTube. I cannot be happier. So feel free to subscribe to Taylor's Tech Talks as well. So really amazing stuff here, y'all. Awesome. I'm loving it. Feel free to keep coming and supporting Taylor's Tech Talks, and also follow Michael Doey's and iAccessibility. I post on there as well. So, those are some of the places you can find me online.
Yep. And, you could find me at Mike Doey's on Twitter. Michael Doey is on Facebook. And I'm on Discord. Just search for, I'm a Nitro user, so Mike Doey's number 1001. I love Nitro just for that. Like, I can, change my username, the user number, so that I could tell it easily on videos like this. So add me as a friend if you want, and let's chat. And we have all kinds of different stuff, and I think it's really cool what we have. And actually, I have an idea, and we'll talk about that off stream. We may have more information about that idea next time, but I think that we are, really enjoying this. You can find Techopolis online. Twitter is at TechopolisOS, and which is a very fitting Twitter handle. So go follow us there, and we'll soon be, automating the posting of all kinds of content, developer related. I'm going to be actually retweeting developer stories and tweets that I find on that Twitter account.
Twitter account. That channel.
So yeah, I know. So I think it's going to be great, and we're going to be doing dev tips on there as well. So anytime we find something interesting we want to give a tip about, we'll be putting on there. So
feel free to just follow everybody on Twitter and Facebook and all the places, because you will not want to miss this content. Especially, I have this new setup. I can post more than ever. So
and also
a lot easier than
right.
ever.
And also, feel free, please subscribe to our channel.
Yes.
Here at Techopolis.
Like, comment.
Like and comment so we get in the algorithm, because apparently we're not good enough for YouTube to actually show up under search results for our own channel.
So let's change that.
Yeah, let's change that. Let's actually get big enough where we can be algorithmed.
Yep.
The cool thing is, if you subscribe and follow and watch Taylor's videos, she is in the algorithm now. So congratulations.
Thank you.
It's a really cool thing for YouTube to be like, oh, hey, this person has important stuff.
Yep.
So,
I feel honored.
Yep.
So,
all right, everybody. I think that's going to do it for today, and we will be back next week.
All right. See y'all later.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone. Whoops.
Okay, let me take us down real quick.